Hello, welcome to this channel. My name is Allison and I make all sorts of craft content, various hobbies. So if you're new here, welcome. And today I'm actually going to be showing you a tutorial on how to make this backpack. So the inspiration for this design was I wanted something to take with me to the beach this summer, and what better than a crochet backpack where all the sand can just fall out of the holes. But it doesn't just have to be used on the beach. It can be used for all sorts of carrying things, applications, and if you're interested in learning how to make a bag like this, then you have come to the right place because I'm going to be showing you how to do that. So without further ado, let me just jump into it and show you how to make this. My materials for this project are going to be t-shirt yarn, which I got this one from Amazon, which made it nice and easy. It also came with a crochet hook. It is 95% polyester and 5% spandex. The reason why I decided to go with t-shirt yarn as opposed to any other yarns is because this one is going to be pretty durable for the beach. As you can see, it's stretchy. It's going to resist soaking up that sand. I can just rinse it off. So it's going to make a pretty good backpack for me. And then I am using a 5.5mm crochet hook for this project. So I will start off this project by first making a slip knot. I will pinch and pull the yarn and then inserting my hook. Now I will make 2 slip stitches. So I will yarn over and pull through once. Then I will yarn over and pull through again. So you can either continue the first row by just doing the basic slip stitches, or I will show you another method that you can do. So what I'm going to do is inserting into this back loop of my first slip stitch, I will yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, and pull through twice. Okay, so now I have this new loop, back loop here, that I will insert my hook into. I will yarn over and pull through once, yarn over and pull through twice. So see this this here is the first loop of that last slip stitch that I made. You're going to insert your hook into that first loop that you make, and then you're going to take another loop and pull through both. So one more time, I insert my hook into that loop. I will yarn over and pull through it once, and then I will yarn over, pull through twice, and then that back loop is going to be the one that I insert my hook into. Continue making the stitches until you're satisfied with the length. This is about 35 stitches for me, and you can do more or less depending on how wide you want your backpack to be. So now I'm going to show you how to make your first row. You're going to first do a slip stitch on the very end and turn your work. Now we're going to be using single crochets, but to make a bit of a pattern here, we're going to be switching between back loop and front loop stitches. So here is your crochet hook in the back loop to start. And then you yarn over and pull through once, yarn over and pull through twice. So for your next stitch, you're going to do the front loop only. So if I can get a better angle on that. There, so that is in the front loop. You're going to yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, and pull through twice. You're going to do the back loop only again. Yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, pull through twice, and then front loop only. You're going to be alternating back loop and front loop, and then eventually the pattern will come out as you do more rows. Congratulations on making your first row. Your project should now be looking something like this with the pattern taking shape.
You can see which ones are the front loop or back loop based on which one is protruding. So that's a good way to help you if you get lost in the pattern. So now you're going to turn your work. So you do this by doing one slip knot. Then you'll turn your work over so it's facing the other side. And then you'll continue your pattern by starting out in the back loop and then alternating to the front loop and continuing on. I've now finished the base layer of the backpack. I decided to do 8 rows here, but you can make it longer or shorter depending on how thick you want the base to be. So the next step I'm going to do is crochet all around the sides here, and that's going to start help building up the wall of the backpack. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my piece, and I'm going to finish, I'm going to start on this edge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip my hook into this stitch, and I'm going to do one single crochet, and and I'm going to do one single crochet going around each of the pieces. And 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 so I'm gonna go around this here. And 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 so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I did 8 rows. So I have one less than 8 here. Then I am going to flip this over to the other side. And I'm going to do single crochets all along the edge here. So I had 35 stitches in my row here. So I'm also going to have 35 stitches on this side to make sure nothing gets warped. Okay, so now I have exactly 35 stitches along this long end here, match the other side. And then since I did 7 stitches over on my other short side, I'm going to do 7 stitches here. Okay, so now I have finished 3 of my sides, and I'm back at that side where I have the nice, pretty, and easy stitches to stitch into. So I'm just going to go and do the 35 stitches again along the side. I finished single crocheting all around the sides of the base. So now I'm going to take a stitch marker and put it into the last stitch I made. Actually got this stitch marker from a Woobles kit and kept it because they come in pretty handy. Okay, so now I can see where my row started and ended without losing it. So for the next row, we're going to start our in the front loop and back loop only pattern. So starting in the back loop, I'm going to do a single crochet. Then I will do a single crochet in the front loop only. Back loop only. Front loop only. And then I'll just continue this all the way around. I am now 1 stitch away from completing the first row of this project. So I am going to take my stitch marker out, complete the next stitch, And I'll place my stitch marker back in. Okay, so now we've probably reached the most relaxing part of this project because you're just going to keep going around and around in the same pattern until it gets long enough to your liking. So, an important thing to note for this is that you want to make sure the same number of stitches are in each row. My projects, for example, with the dimensions I chose, it's going to be, I think, 84 stitches all the way around. And I want to just make sure I'm having 84 stitches as I go on to make sure I'm not accidentally increasing or decreasing stitches along the way. Otherwise, it could get warpy. And another thing to note is mine is already starting to do this, but as you keep going up its layers, it will start to curve inwards. And once that happens, it gets real annoying and it gets really hard to stitch around. So what you're gonna do is you're actually just gonna flip it inside out. And mine's a little short for this right now, but you'll just flip it inside out and you can just keep going along the inside outside.
So I am back and I finished the body of the bag. I think this is around approximately 30 rows, but basically you just keep on doing rows until you're satisfied with the total length. So now that I am satisfied with the length, I will start on the straps. So what I am going to do is I'm going to start my row like normal. Except for that, I am not going to alternate front loop and back loop anymore. For the strength of this row, I'm just going to do normal single crochets. So I will start with my first single crochet. Okay, put that stitch marker back in. And then, so right now I have my bag laid completely flat. And I think exactly across from the stitch marker is where I'm going to want my strap. Basically just want to mark out where you want your strap while flat. So I want it about this stitch here and I'm going to go crochet up to that point. So now I think I want my straps to be about 6 stitches thick, so I'm going to just regularly crochet 6 stitches. So after I have crocheted my 6 stitches from where I wanted my end of the strap to be, I will then turn my work over and I will chain 1, and then I will do 6 single crochets back along this direction. Okay, so I will turn my work over again. And you can see that I got this little notch that will be the thickness of my strap. You'll just want to make sure that that thickness is correct for you. And then you're going to keep chaining 1 at each end so that it doesn't increase or decrease along the way. And you're just going to keep on single crocheting until the length of the strap is as long as it's comfortable for you. So I'm now done with the first strap, which I made it nice and long. I think around 60 rows in total. I basically made it just long enough to where it was comfortable and sat about right, but I also recognize that over time this will stretch just a little bit, so I gave it enough give to where when it stretches out it won't be hanging down all uncomfortable. So now I'm going to cut the tail and leave a lot extra to use for later. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this through my loop so that it stays. Okay, and then later on, I'm going to show you how to actually connect this to the backpack, but for now, I'm going to show you how to do the other strap. For now, I am going to stick my hook back into the loop that's next to the end of the strap. Then I will reattach my yarn, and I will single crochet until I want to start the strap. Okay, so I'm now where I want to start the strap. So like the other side, I'm just going to single crochet 6, then turn it around and continue down the strap. Okay, so before you continue, you'll just want to visually check and verify that everything looks right. Me, I think this does look right, so I'll continue, but you can always pull out your stitches and redo it until you feel like the spacing is correct. I have now completed my second strap, making sure that they are both equal in length. So now I will show you how to actually attach the bottom of the strap to the backpack. So first, what you're going to do is you're going to take a tapestry needle, and you're going to take that long tail that we left off and thread it through the needle. So once you have threaded the needle, which I learned can be just a little bit tricky if you have long nails, you can start sewing the bottom of the strap to the bottom of the backpack. So first, you're going to make sure there are absolutely no twists in the strap, otherwise that would be a bad day and get really annoying. So you're going to make sure there's no kinks, and you're going to place the bottom of the strap parallel with some of the lines that you've crocheted at the bottom of the backpack, and you're going to have it turned like this so that when the strap is on, it folds up instead of being placed flat like that. You're going to fold it with the turn. You're going to take the needle and you're going to thread it through your first loop, matching up a loop of the strap with a loop on the backpack, which I reach my hand inside to pull that needle through. Okay, I will stick that needle inside the backpack now, and I'm going to come up in the loop next to where I entered. And then I also find the cording spot on my strap. Once again, I will go into the next loop of my strap, and then I will make sure it's on the next loop of the backpack. And giving that a tug. That feels pretty secure here. You can always go back around if you want to secure it even more, which I might do that for a couple stitches. Okay. I also like that the tail is now inside of the backpack, and then I will just release the tail here, and I will show you how to weave that in later, but for now the strap is secured tightly. And then you'll just do this exact same thing to the strap on the other side. Yay, our straps are now complete. So I'm going to connect the yarn back into where I left off and complete the rest of the row. So I've crocheted until I've gotten back to my stitch marker, and I'm just going to do the same single crochet around until I get past the first strap. So I've crocheted until just past my first strap, which I went over the strap in my crochet, including the very top portion in my stitches, so it is nice and strong up here. So this part is optional and you can skip it if you'd like, but I'm going to show you how I will make that hook for the top of the backpack so I can hang it places. So how you're going to do that is you're going to count the number of stitches in between your straps, which in my case is 19. And I'm thinking that I want the space between the start and the stop of my little hook to be about maybe 9 stitches or so. So 19 minus 9, 10 divided by 2, 5. So I'm going to go 5 stitches from the edge of my first strap, which I've already done 3, so just 2 more. So 1 and 2 And then I want the tag to curve just a little bit, so I think I'll chain 12 here. Okay, let's see. Maybe a little more. Let's go 15. Okay, that'll expand a little, so that's probably about right. I will chain one because I'll lose a stitch when I turn around, and I will single crochet back along that the chain. So I have made my hook piece. I'll fold it over here just to kind of verify. Yeah, that looks about right. Feels strong, sturdy, enough to hold my backpack up. So I am satisfied with this. So to attach this portion back to the main backpack, I'm just going to go and do a single crochet in the very next loop. And then since I started this on 5 over from the end of this strap, I'm just going to single crochet until I get 5 away from this next strap. Okay, this looks to be about where I should be attaching the loop back in. So first I'm going to make sure that I have it straight. And I'm going to attach it by inserting my hook into the next stitch and going to the very end of the loop. Then I will single crochet as normal. And then it was attached at 2 places here, so I'll do the same thing with the next stitch. That also helps make sure that it's nice and secure. We want that. So I have my backpack laid flat right now. I'm going to go until all the way to this end here and then stop. So I've single crocheted all the way to the end of this flat side. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to make the part of the backpack that will fold over onto the front to close the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do chain 1. I'm going to flip my work over. And then I will do another row of single crochets along this back side here, making sure that when I get to the loop, if you've done so, to stitch over it like you did the straps, and you'll do that until you get all the way to here. Okay, so now I have done a couple of back and forth rows, and it folds over the top just a little bit, kind of like this so far, but it does cover the whole space. So what I'm going to do now is I want kind of like a curved U-shaped curve for the latch. So I am going to start doing decreases. So to show you how I'm going to do these decreases is once I flip my work over and I'm going to start my next row, I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then instead of pulling through again, I'm going to insert my hook into the next row, then I'll yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through. And I have done 1 decrease on this edge, so I'm going to continue along this row until I am 2 stitches away from the end. I am back at the end of my row now with 2 stitches left, so I'm going to do another decrease. So how you do that is first you'll insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. Instead of yarning over and pulling through again, you're going to insert your hook into the next loop, yarn over and pull through again, then yarn over and pull through 3. Okay, so to turn a work, you'll chain 1, you'll flip your work over, and then you're going to do another decrease to start off this row. So yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over into the next stitch, pull through 2, pull through 1, sorry, then yarn over and pull through 3. So you just did another decrease, you ended your last row with a decrease, and you're going to start your next row with a decrease, and you're going to continue that for all the rows here on out. It'll get smaller with each row and make an overall U shape. I am about to start my last row now, which is good because I am basically almost out of yarn, so perfect timing. But so something I did on the last row that I think is good to carry over for the very last two rows of your latch is to do two decreases instead of one. So I'm going to show you what that means. And basically the whole purpose of that is to allow the very end to kind of round out more. So flipping my work over, I'm going to start my final row. So I'm going to do one decrease. And then instead of crocheting single crochets like normal, I'm going to do another decrease. And then I will do that on the other end when I get there. Something else for this last row is the loop that will fit over the button. So the way you're going to do that is first you're going to figure out which stitch is in the center of your row. So how you're going to do this is first single crocheting into the stitch as normal. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through a loop. And you're going to pull on that loop until it is about just big enough to fit over your button with a little bit of stretch. Point where it can get over, but it's not going to stretch and make it loose when your bag opens. So I think this is probably about right. So I'm going to hold that in place. And then I'm going to go around and into the next stitch, and I'm going to single crochet one, making sure not to pull that loop any looser or tighter than it was before. Okay, and then single crochet as normal. I am 4 single crochets from the end now, so I'm going to do 2 decreases. So 1 decrease and 2 decreases. Okay, and then I can just cut my yarn and pull it through the loop. So now you have completed the main body of the backpack, and it is time to weave in the ends. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to start with this end that I just cut, and I'm going to put my needle, my tapestry needle, through the yarn, which might be a little difficult. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this real tight first, and then I'm going to find the back side of my piece. That's where I'd want to weave the edges in. They aren't super visible, but just in case they are a little bit visible, I like to do it on the back side. So I'm going to take the tapestry needle here and find a place to insert it under. Pull through real good and tight. Okay, and then I'm going to find the place, the next spot that seems natural to weave under. I'm going to pick this knot here. Okay. Then I'm going to find another place that just seems natural to weave it under. And I'm going to keep going with this for a good amount just to make sure it's sturdy. And a good idea with this is to change directions just so that if the yarn gets pulled from one spot, let's just say I pull it up here, it's not undoing the whole thing. So pull this tighter. It might loosen up just a little bit, but you don't want it to pull out, so that's why you change directions. Once you feel like you've woven that in quite a bit, that it's secure and it's not going to pull out, you can just cut the end pretty close to where you wove it into. And there, not even visible. Then you can pull on the fabric and it's not coming out. My ends are all woven in now, and I have the final step of attaching the button. So you're going to take your tapestry needle and some thread, and you're going to align the button with where it should be on the bag. Yeah, about the center of the button should be around where the loop you've made pulls down to. Yep, I think that looks about right. So I'm gonna start by inserting my needle on the other end since I want the knot to be on this side. I'm gonna pull through my button, making sure that I don't accidentally pull the thread all the way through. And I'm just gonna check the location one more time. The good news about buttons too is if you get it wrong, it is very easy to just snip the thread and to do it again. I think this looks about right. I'm just gonna insert the thread through my button again and pull until it's tight. And then I'm gonna repeat that process a couple more times. Okay, that feels pretty secure, so I'm gonna flip it to the other side. Pull these threads as tight as possible because you do not want a loose button. And I am going to tie this together a couple of times. And now we have a completed bag. I actually did not plan it to coordinate with my dress, but I guess it was just meant to be. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and please let me know in the comments if you made this bag. And as always, have a great day!